Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. I would love it if you would take a minute and click the subscribe button so that you never miss a video from me. Today's video is going to be the first budget for February. I am turned to the monthly calendar here for February, and I want to talk a little bit about the bills that I'm going to pay this week. As you can see, the payday that we are talking about is the pay my husband receives on the 2nd of February, and because he is paid every single week, we typically tackle our bills 1 week at a time. So you can see the bills that fall within this first week are Audible and Weight Watchers. If I were to just pay those couple of bills, I would not have a whole lot of money going out this week. My husband got a pretty decent paycheck this week. If you're not familiar, he is paid based on commission, so his pay is not consistent. Some weeks he makes a lot of money, some weeks he makes a little money. And we combat that by rolling money over typically and having a cushion in our checking account, that sort of thing. But we also combat that sometimes by paying some bills early. And that is what we are going to do today. So I have a highlighter here. This is just a mild liner in a pretty pink color. I chose pink for this first pay in February. And what I'm going to do is something that I see the budget mom do all the time. She calls it the highlighter method. What she does is she highlights her payday, and then she also, in that same color, highlights all of the bills that she's going to pay with that paycheck. And I thought I would try that out. I used to do this all the time. It's been a while since I did it, but we're switching things up a little bit and trying to get ahead on some of our bills, and so I just thought I would give this a try. So I have this pretty pink color. I'm going to highlight the payday, so the pay that my husband receives on February 2nd, and let's talk about the bills we are going to pay with this money. So first we're going to pay the bills that are due this week, Audible and Weight Watchers, which Weight Watchers I actually don't owe anything, and I will talk about that when we get to writing out the actual budget. But then we're also going to pay Netflix, Disney Plus, and Hulu. We're going to pay HBO Max, which is a new expense for us. We'll talk about that as well. Boost, we're going to pay with that paycheck. We're also going to pay Spotify. And then we're going to skip all the way down here, and we're going to make our camper payment. It's not due until the 25th, but that is a payment that we are allowed to make early. So we're just going to go ahead and knock that out as well. So those are the bills we're going to pay with this paycheck. We're also, of course, going to take care of our typical weekly expenses. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a feel for what we're doing here. We're going to pay some of these bills ahead, and we're eventually going to try to get a month ahead on all of our bills so that we are paying, you know, this month's bills with last month's income. I don't know if we'll get there, but that's ultimately going to be the goal. It's going to probably take us a couple of months of cycling things through to get that, but for now we're just going to pay some of these bills early and try to get a little bit ahead. So let me go ahead and flip to the first paycheck bill tracker. I use the Budget by Paycheck workbook pages. I have the printable version of the workbook, and so what I do is I just print out the pages that I like to use, which are that monthly calendar you just saw, this paycheck bill tracker for each of my paychecks in the month, and then this cash envelope breakdown. There are lots of other worksheets that come with the workbook, but I don't print those because I don't use them. I just use these few pages, and it works out really well for me. And this is the page we're going to work on next. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a bit. This is, like I said, the paycheck my husband receives on February 2nd. We're going to use this bright pink pen today. This is an erasable pen from Parkoo. I typically write out my budgets in black ink, but I'm actually running low on my black erasable pens. You know, they get lost or I use up all the ink, so I need to place an order. I get my Parkoo pens from Amazon. I really, really love them. I just haven't gotten around to buying some new ones, so we're just going to write in this pretty pink color today. February is all about, you know, pinks and reds and hearts and flowers and that sort of thing. So that's totally fine. So this is paycheck number 1. We don't talk about income here on my channel, so I'm not going to fill in that amount. My husband's just not comfortable sharing his income, and I respect that. So we're just going to go ahead and skip right to the bills section. And for the bills section, we are going to write in all of those bills that I just highlighted. Under my bills category, I put anything that I'm paying with my debit card or with my checking account. So that's all of my bills, whether they're on auto pay or I go in and make the payment, all of that gets pulled directly from my checking account. I will also put my grocery budget in here because I do my grocery shopping online using the Walmart pickup. And all of these other categories I pull out in cash typically. So my envelopes, this is the money that I give myself to spend throughout the week for things like gas and my personal spending money, that sort of thing. That comes out in cash. We also pull our sinking funds out in cash. That's just a personal preference, so that's how we do that. In addition to that, we pull our extra savings out in cash. So the only things that stay in my checking account are the bills that I'm going to pay, my grocery money, and then any money that I'm paying extra towards debt. Everything else gets taken out in cash. So let's start by writing in my grocery budget. We'll just get that out of the way. And for groceries this week, I am going to budget $100. So this grocery budget is for a family of 4. I typically spend more than this in a week. I typically budget about $150. That's for groceries and household items as well as like pet food and whatnot. But I went through my pantry and my freezer and my fridge, and even though we are no longer doing the January pantry challenge, I was able to make quite a few meals with what we already have. So I was able to lower my grocery budget a little bit, and we're just going to aim to spend about $100 this week. That takes care of grocery. Now let's start listing out those bills. So we have my camper payment, which like I said isn't actually due until the 25th, but we're going to pay that a little bit early. My husband and I are making payments on a beautiful camper that we absolutely love, and those payments are $200 a month, so that's what we're going to budget for that. Next, I have Boost, which is our mobile phone provider. We have a pay-as-you-go plan, so we are not locked into a contract. It's a family plan. We get 4 lines of unlimited talk, text, data. We also have hotspot capability, and for that we pay $130 a month. Next up, we have Netflix. We have quite a few streaming services, and we actually added a few more recently because, you know, we've kind of made peace with the idea that we are going to be staying home. We are not going to be going out and doing things for quite some time, and we have watched pretty much everything on all of the streaming services that we've had for a while, so not really, but we just wanted to kind of mix things up a little bit. So we have added some new streaming services, which we'll talk about, but we've had Netflix for years and years and years. My kids really like Netflix, so we're going to keep it. We've decided, we sat down at the start of the year and really talked about our streaming services, what we wanted to keep, what we wanted to add, that sort of thing. And I recommend that you do that. You know, occasionally go through all of your services and subscriptions and things and decide whether it's something you really need. Netflix, we decided, was a keeper. So for that, I'm going to budget $14. Hulu is my personal favorite streaming service. I feel like Hulu doesn't get a lot of love, but I love it. And so we're going to budget $6 for that. Then we have Disney Plus, which is one that I was kind of trying to talk my family into getting rid of because we don't watch it quite as much, but we love our Disney movies, so they talked me into keeping it. It's only $7 a month, so that's fine. HBO Max. This is a new one for us. We just decided to sign up for it to give it a try. There's some series and things that moved over to HBO Max that we really enjoy, and movies and stuff. It's getting ridiculous, though, with the streaming services. Like, years ago, we all got rid of our cable service to go to, like, Netflix, and we were saving a ton of money, but now there's so many streaming services that I feel like we're right back up to paying what we were paying for our digital cable. But it is what it is. We decided we're going to try out HBO Max for a couple of months, so we're going to budget $16 for that. Next we have Spotify. We got the Spotify family. It's like $15 a month. Again, we're going to be staying home. We needed a new form of entertainment, and so we decided to give this a try as well, and that is $16. So, like I said, some added streaming services, and we're going to see how it goes for a couple of months, and then we'll reassess, decide if we really need them or not. Lastly, I have Weight Watchers, and for Weight Watchers, I'm actually not going to budget anything because I don't have a bill this month. Someone signed up using my referral link, and so I was able to get a free month of Weight Watchers. So thank you so much if you were one of the ones that signed up. I appreciate that. If you are thinking about a weight loss journey and you would like to try Weight Watchers for a month for free, you can use my link down below. You'll get a free month. I'll get a free month. What do you have to lose? Definitely check that out if weight loss is something that you are striving towards in 2021. I would appreciate it, and like I said, you got nothing to lose, right? So, except the weight, I guess. Alright, let me go ahead and pull in my calculator because that is the last of the bills, and we're going to add these up. So we have 100 plus 200 plus 130 plus 14 plus 6 plus 7 plus 16 plus 16. And I just realized I missed one. I missed Audible, my husband's audiobook subscription. He loves audiobooks. He listens to audiobooks all the time while he's driving. So we're going to budget $16 for that as well. Can't believe I missed that one. I'm glad I remembered. For a total of $505 in our bills category. Okie dokie. Now we're going to move on to cash envelopes. So for cash envelopes, this is the cash I'm going to pull out to put into my wallet to be used throughout the week. I anticipate that all of this money will be spent this week, and so let's just get started. So first up, I have my husband spending money. That actually will not go into my wallet. That'll go into his wallet, but he gets $40 a week to spend on absolutely anything that he wants. Next, we have my spending money, and I also get $40 a week. I'm considering lowering my spending money sometime in the future, but for right now, I'm just going to keep it set at $40. Next, we have gas. So this is for gasoline for my car. I drive a Subaru Forester. It costs us right now with gas prices around $30 to fill up, and so that is what I'm going to budget for the week. Next, we have eating out. So if you watched my February goals video, you would know that I am trying really hard not to eat out at all in the month of February. But I'm still going to give us that $25 that I typically budget for eating out because I'm human, and even though I'm trying really, really hard not to eat out, there may come a time throughout the week that I decide that I need to eat out, or, you know, we run into a scenario where we have to go through a drive-thru or whatever. I'm really hoping that won't be the case, but I don't want to not budget for that and then have to swipe a credit card to take care of that. So the goal is to, at the end of this week, still have all of this eating out money left, in which case I will send it as an extra debt payment. That was my goal, to be able to not eat out so I could send that money that we would have spent eating out to a credit card. So I'm going to budget for it for this eating out category, but hopefully when I sit down to do my budget results video next week, you guys will see that money still in my envelope, not having been used. And lastly, I have miscellaneous, which I budget $25 for, and that is just for anything that comes up throughout the week that I didn't budget for. It's nice to have that because things inevitably come up. Last thing you want to do is have to swipe a credit card to cover something because you didn't anticipate it. So that $25 just covers that. All right, that's it for my envelopes. So now we'll add this up as well. 40 plus 40 plus 30 plus 25 plus 25 is $160. Next, we're going to move on up here to sinking funds. So if you are not familiar with sinking funds, they are essentially little mini savings accounts. You know that things are going to come up throughout the year, but they're not necessarily things that happen on a weekly or a monthly basis. They happen less often than that. Maybe it's a once a year thing or something that you pay a couple of times a year. And so what I like to do is set aside a little bit of money here and there throughout the year to cover those inevitable expenses. Things like car maintenance, Christmas, you know it's coming, you might as well prepare for it. I have nearly 20 sinking funds, but we just tend to focus on a few at a time so as to not overwhelm ourselves. So we're not adding to every single sinking fund every single week. We just pick and choose which funds to add to based on what our goals are for the month, how much money we made that week, that sort of thing. So this week we are going to add to 3 sinking funds. The first one being my son. So this is technically his allowance. I was putting this under cash envelopes, but I keep his cash envelope in my sinking fund folder, so it just makes sense to include it under sinking funds. It's the same thing. It's $20. Regardless of what category I put it under, I pull out $20 in cash for him, and then he can save it or spend it as he sees fit. So that's the first one. Next up, we have Amazon Prime. Our Amazon Prime membership is due to renew soon, and so again, rather than waiting until that's due and trying to scramble to find $140 or whatever it is to pay that, we've just been setting aside little bits of money here and there so that we have it. This week, I'm going to add $25 to our Amazon Prime fund. And lastly, for this week, I have home insurance. We pay the insurance on our home just once a year rather than monthly, so we set aside a little bit of money throughout the year so that when that comes due, we have it. And for that, we're going to do $75. I don't even need my calculator to add this up. My sinking fund total for this week is $120. And that, like I said, I'll pull out in cash, and I will stuff my envelopes in a separate video that'll be coming up hopefully tomorrow on my channel. All right, now we have extra debt. So we have some credit cards that we are actively trying to pay off using the debt snowball method. Throughout 2020, we made a ton of progress paying off credit cards, and we were so excited about it. We are hoping that we are going to be credit card debt free by the end of 2021. We've already had some setbacks, so I don't know if it's going to happen, but we are going to try like hell. So the way that we tackle our debt is we pay all of our minimum payments. You would see that under this bills category if I had any minimum payments due this week, but I don't, so that's why you don't see any here. If you continue to watch my budget videos throughout February, you will see my minimum payments pop up over in this bills section. So we pay the minimum payments to all of our credit cards, and then we tackle just one card at a time. And our debt snowball, as I said, as we have paid off other credit cards, we've added those minimum payments to our debt snowball, and our debt snowball is all the way up to $173 that we pay towards debt every single week. We like to make progress on our debt weekly, And so this is what we pay on a weekly basis towards our credit card. The card that we are currently working on is a Discover card. It started out in the $4,000 range, and we, over the course of the last couple of months, have paid it down to about half. So we are making good progress on that, and this money will go towards that to make even more progress. And that's it. That's all that I have budgeted. I am hopeful that I will be able to make an extra debt payment. If I have money left over in my cash envelopes at the end of the week, that will go towards an extra debt payment. Also, if my bills come in a little bit lower than what I anticipate, I will pay the difference as an extra debt payment. So I'm going to write in a line item for extra debt so that I have kind of the place marker for that, but I'm not going to budget anything for that because I don't know that I will have extra money. It's just my hope. So when I come back and do my budget results video for this paycheck, you guys will be able to see if I was able to make an extra debt payment. So our extra debt total is $173. Lastly, we're going to move to this extra savings. So during 2021, I have been participating in a few different savings challenges. If you watched my February savings challenge video, you would see that I did all of my dice rolling for Savopoly in that video. And so I already know that for Savopoly, which is one of the savings challenges that I'm participating in, we budgeted, let's flip to it so that I can find out for sure. Oops. $17, as you can see here. I did the rolling during that video. If you missed it, I will link it in a card above. But for the first week in February, I'm saving $17. So let me mark that in here. And then the other savings challenge that I'm doing throughout 2021 is a 52-week savings challenge. So I'm going to flip back to my little charts here. And go to my 52-week savings challenge tracker. And I'm going to choose an amount that I'm going to save this week. So I only saved $17 for Savopoly, so I'm going to choose a square that has a little bit of a higher amount, I think. You know what? Let's just go big. We're going to save $60 for the first week in February. And I just choose that based on, you know, how much money we earned that week and how much I was saving for my other categories and that sort of thing. So I have $60 that I can spare for this 52-week savings challenge, and so that's what I'm going to do. So I need to just flip back to my paycheck bill tracker. And for the 52-week savings challenge, I'm going to save $60. So then whenever I go to the bank to pull out my cash, I will pull out $60 for that. So that is it for my budget. But speaking of going to the bank, I need to flip over to this cash envelope breakdown and figure out exactly how much money I need to pull from the bank and in what denominations. So I'm going to really quickly off camera write in all of the categories that I need cash for. So for me, that's everything under this envelopes section, my sinking funds, and my extra savings. So I'm just going to write out the categories as well as their amounts, and then I'll come back and we'll do the cash envelope breakdown together. Be right back. Okay, I am back, and I wrote out all of my categories and their amounts, and then I went ahead and added the amounts up, and I know I need to pull out $357 from the bank. But now I need to figure out in what denominations I need to pull those out so that I have the proper bills to be able to stuff my envelopes. So, for my husband, we budgeted $40, and I know he likes to have 20s, so we're going to do 2 20s for him. For myself, it's $40. We're going to do 2 20s there as well. For gas, we have 30, so we're going to do a 20 and a 10. Eating out gets 25, so we're going to do a 20 and a 5. Miscellaneous also gets 25, so we'll do 20 and a 5 for that. For my son, we're going to do a $20 bill. Lots of 20s. It's usually primarily 20s. For Amazon Prime, we're going to do 25, so a 20 and a 5. Home insurance is going to get 75, so we're going to do a 50, a 20, and a 5. Savopoly is getting 17, so we're going to do a 10, a 5, and 2 1s. Oh, look, I made a mistake there. I stuck that under 20. I'm glad I caught that. Luckily, I have my erasable pens, so I can just erase and mark that there instead. And then we have my 52-week savings challenge, which is 60, so for that we will do a 50 and a 10. So, now we just count it up. So, I have 2 1s, and that is $2. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5s, which is $25. 1, 2, 3 10s is $30. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 20s is $200. And 2 50s is $100. We have no $100 bills. So now I'm just going to add up this total amount and make sure that this total matches this total. If it does, we know we did everything right. So we have 2 plus 25 plus 30 plus 200 plus 100 is $357. So this total does indeed match this total, so that's perfect. And now I'm just going to transfer this information that I just came up with here onto one of these sticky notes from the Budget Mom. That way I can just take this right to the bank and hand it to the teller. Makes it super easy for them to pull out the cash I need in the proper denominations without any confusion. So 2 $1 bills, 5 $5 bills, 3 10s, 10 20s, and 2 50s. Oops. Once again, thank God for erasable pens. I don't know how anybody can manage to budget without erasable pens. I guess maybe they use pencil. But if you make as many mistakes as I do and you're constantly scribbling things out, highly recommend the erasable pens from Parkoo. For a total of 357. Alright, you guys, so I am going to take this sticky note to the bank, pull out the cash, and I will be back tomorrow with my cash envelope stuffing video. For now, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please take a minute and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a video. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I would love to have you come back. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, friends!